The call came on a Tuesday. Some small part in a small film no one had heard of. A single line, a walk-on, nothing special. But Keanu took it. Because Dusty wagged his tail for the first time in weeks, and that was enough. The studio lot was loud, busy, filled with people who didn't look up from their phones. Keanu kept his head down, said his line, went home. The paycheck didn't even cover rent, but it paid for Dusty's medicine. And that was everything. Then came another role. Then a commercial. Then a callback for something bigger. Each time, before he left the apartment, he would kneel beside Dusty. And Dusty would look up at him, slow, steady, and full of belief. Not in the performance, in the person. Keanu didn't get every role. He didn't always get applause, but every time he came home, he got the only thing that ever mattered. A quiet tail wag. And those amber eyes waiting by the door. The suit was tailored. The cameras flashed like lightning. The name Keanu Reeves was printed on banners, whispered by reporters, etched into screens. But all he could think about was how Dusty had looked at him that morning. Older now, slower, but still there, still watching. He had left him with the neighbor just for a few hours. Just long enough to walk the carpet, just long enough to smile at strangers and answer questions that didn't matter. Who are you wearing? What's next for you? Did you ever imagine this moment? No one asked the only question that would have mattered. Who got you here? Keanu smiled politely, thanked the crowd, held the award close to his chest. But he didn't take it to the party. He didn't go out. He didn't stay for interviews. He went home and sat beside the one who'd been with him when the lights were out, when the fridge was empty, when his name meant nothing. He placed the trophy on the floor, next to the blanket. Dusty sniffed it once, then laid his head on Keanu's knee. No applause, no questions, no lights, just the sound of breathing, side by side, exactly where the story had started. The grass was soft, the sun low and golden, stretching shadows across the quiet cemetery. There were no crowds, no cameras, just a man, a small headstone, and the memory of footsteps that once followed him everywhere. Keanu didn't speak. He didn't need to. He reached into his bag and pulled out the award. The one that had his name etched in gold, the one millions had watched him accept. He ran a thumb across the inscription, then gently placed it at the base of the stone. For Dusty, he whispered, the only one who believed from the very beginning. A breeze passed through the trees, not loud, but enough to make the grass lean in. He sat there for a long time, not as an actor, not as a celebrity, just as the boy who once taped monologues to a cracked mirror, while a little dog in the corner listened like it was Shakespeare. The world would never know the whole story, but he did, and now, so did the earth. Because some final scenes aren't on screens. They're written in silence, and buried in love. The apartment was quieter now. No pause steps, no breathing, no eyes waiting at the door. The blanket was still there, untouched, folded, as if waiting for a return that would never come. Keanu still poured 2 bowls in the morning. Habit, maybe. Hope, maybe not. He didn't cry, but some silences are louder than grief. It started with a field, endless, golden, wind-blown, peaceful. In the dream, Dusty runs, not limps. His fur clean, eyes bright. He doesn't stop at the edge of the hill this time. He turns back and waits. When Keanu wakes, he writes it down, not because he believes in signs, but because the memory felt more real than the day. Years pass, movies come, fame rises, and still in a drawer sits a letter Keanu never mailed. Addressed to no one, Written the week Dusty died. A single page that ends with "You taught me everything before the world taught me anything." On set one day, a dog wanders into the studio lot. Scrappy, hungry, lost. Everyone shoos it away. Keanu kneels. He doesn't name this one either. Just feeds it, pets it, then watches it leave. Not every dog stays, but some find you again. In pieces, in moments. They ask about awards, about career, about legacy. Keanu smiles, answers kindly. Then they ask, "What was your biggest turning point?" He pauses, then says softly, "A cold night, a quiet dog, and the decision to try one more time." The interviewer doesn't understand, but the world listening does. At a fan event, a man approaches, says nothing, just hands Keanu a folded photo. A black and white picture. A boy. A dog. Sitting beside a trailer. Script pages scattered across the ground. Keanu recognizes neither the boy nor the dog. But the pose? The eyes? He smiles. Sometimes memories echo in strangers. There was a script. About a boy and a dog. Too close to the truth. Too painful to perform. He passed on the role, never read the last page, but sometimes in quiet moments, he wonders how it ended. Then remembers, he's still writing it. He hikes alone now, in silence. Boots crunching gravel, camera over his shoulder. But every once in a while, when the trail curves, he swears he hears footsteps behind him. Soft, 4-beat rhythm, like an echo of a memory refusing to fade. Keanu funds a shelter. Quietly, no name on the door. They ask what the logo should be. He sketches a paw print beside a folded blanket. "Keep it simple," he says. They do. A child waits outside a theater. No autograph, no photo, just asks, "Did you really have a dog who saved you?" Keanu kneels, looks the boy in the eye. "No, he didn't save me. He showed me how to live." The boy smiles and runs back to his parents. Years from now, when no cameras follow, Keanu walks a quiet beach alone. He stops, looks to his right. No leash, no shadow, no fur. But somehow he smiles, because not all companions are visible. Some stay in the footsteps, in the pauses, in the breath between words. And when he leaves the beach that day, there are 2 sets of prints behind it. Keanu never used voice memos. Not for lines, not for reminders. But one day, while cleaning an old drawer, he found an old mini recorder. He pressed play, nothing at first. Then, static. Then his own voice, younger, lighter. Scene 1. For Dusty, always watching. He didn't remember recording it, but somehow, Dusty had always been listening. He walked past it once. The old building still stood. The tiles were still cracked. Even the buzzer still buzzed wrong. But the blanket by the window was gone. Only the corner remained quiet, faded. He didn't knock, didn't go inside. He just stood across the street and whispered, "Thank you." A fan mailed it to the studio, painted in oils. Keanu and Dusty, sitting under a streetlight. The expression so real, it made him stop breathing for a second. He framed it, didn't hang it, just leaned it quietly in the hallway, where it caught the light at just the right angle. The publisher wanted a dedication, to someone important, they said. He wrote, "To the dog who gave me my first scene partner." Nothing more. It was enough. A film shoot, artificial rain pouring down on actors pretending to cry. Keanu stood back, watched it all unfold. But when the director called cut, he stayed still. Because for a moment, the cold water, the dim light, it felt like that night. The one when Dusty first found him behind the diner. Back then, no one called cut. Only come home. In Berlin, outside a hotel, a fan waited with a small black dog, shy, limping slightly. The boy said, "Her name is Dusty, because of you." Keanu didn't reply. He just knelt. The dog approached slowly, touched her nose to his palm. No bark, no tail wag, just stillness. He understood. Years later, a magazine printed it in bold. Sometimes the ones who shape your soul never speak a single word. K. Reeves. It trended for a day, got turned into wall art, printed on mugs. But he didn't write it for the world. He wrote it for a paw print and a heartbeat that had long since faded. In a locked box at the back of his closet, the original collar, frayed, unwashed. He didn't open the box often, only on days when the world felt too loud, when crowds asked too many things, when silence was all he needed. Then he'd hold it, close his eyes, and remember the one who never asked for anything but time. There was one role, a film about grief and a man walking across the country with only memories for company. Keanu filmed every scene, poured everything into it. Then the studio shelved it. Too slow, too quiet, too sad. He didn't fight it. Some stories aren't meant to be released. They're meant to be lived. On days off, he'd go to the same lake. Small, private, unknown. He'd sit at the edge, shoes off. No phone, just air and silence. Once a dog swam up to the shore, shook water all over him, then ran off. He laughed and whispered, "Good aim." The bench was new, stone, simple, planted under a tree beside Dusty's grave. It read. He listened first. That was all. No dates, no names, just truth. He had it again, the same field, the same hill. Only this time, Dusty didn't wait at the top. He ran through Keanu, like a wind, like a heartbeat, returning. And in that dream, Keanu didn't wake in silence. He woke with a smile. One last film, one final scene. The director asked, "What's your motivation?" Keanu thought of everything. The rain, the silence, the eyes, the years spent learning how to speak without words. Then he said, "I'm not acting." And for once, no one questioned it. Because sometimes the best scenes are written by the ones who never asked to be in the story at all. There were always people around. Fans, assistants, directors, reporters. But no one ever looked at him like Dusty did. Not with questions, not with expectations, just presence. Sometimes Keanu would catch himself mid-sentence pausing for a reaction that wasn't coming anymore. Because when someone understands you without words, the world becomes a little louder when they're gone. In a second-hand bookstore, he found an old paperback. Inside it, a folded note yellowed with time. It read, "He waited every day by the door, even after you left. No name, no address, just a sentence." He bought the book, never read it. That one line was enough. He planted a tree where the old shelter used to be. An ash tree, strong, simple, enduring. Every year, it grew taller, even when no one watered it, even when no one came to see it. He visited once a year, placed a rock at its base. Never the same rock, never the same words, just presence. The way Dusty taught him. His last film wrapped quietly, no press tour, no after party, just a final scene in a soundstage, where Keanu sat alone in a chair looking at an empty spot beside him. The director asked, "Should we add someone in post?" Keanu smiled. "No need. He's already there." The cabin was small, the fire slow. The snow outside, soft and steady. Keanu sat in a worn armchair, a blanket folded neatly at his feet. Not the one Dusty used, but close. On the table, a photo, a paw print cast in bronze, and a worn collar. He closed his eyes, not because he was tired, but because he was full. Full of every moment, every silence, Every time he chose to stay, because a dog once chose him. The fire crackled, the wind hummed, and somewhere in the stillness, he heard 4 soft footsteps settle beside him. One last time.